Hello everyone, this is Charlotte and this is a podcast called Chatting in Cars. This is where I talk about random topics at length, on tangents and swearing. I'm currently driving back from work on a Monday, which I said I wouldn't do. I thought I would just drive home and not do another podcast, but considering some of the content I just put in the last one, I should probably clarify a few things. I do tend to go off, I rant. Anyway, there's a disclaimer at the start of this podcast because I do swear and I do talk about sensitive topics, so if you don't want to hear about that, absolutely turn it over. You don't have to listen to this. I talk bullshit a lot of the time. I'm well aware that I have a very black and white mindset and I talk shit. Someone is bound to get outraged, and to be honest, I find that fucking hilarious. So if you want to listen and listen with mirth with me, don't take anything I say seriously. Seriously, guys, if I had half a brain, I'd be in like politics or something, right? But there is a disclaimer, and I do waffle on about random shit. So I also swear, which is quite fun, and I enjoy doing it, and I'm not going to turn that off now. The topic for the way home, whilst I contemplate my fate and getting shot out of YouTube and people hunting me down to pull a Karen, sexual empowerment is the topic I'm choosing, because I was sitting there thinking, and in my last podcast I talked about this girl, the blonde, I was talking about, if you did listen to the last podcast I do, talking about these three girls that used to live in the social group, or still operate probably in the social group I just left a year or so ago, and I was talking about how one of them, I outright called her a slut, and I unapologetically call her a slut because she was acting like one. And I'm not it's blunt, and yes, call it the fed upness of my old age or my ASD, or the fact that I'm calling a shit, but it's like, I'm tired of sugarcoating shit. But I'm not saying, it lends itself to slut shaming, doesn't it? This sexual empowerment really goes hand in hand, obviously, because there are some people that are more prudish, who will say any activity that is overtly sexual is sluts. I'm not actually saying that. I'm saying this particular girl was slutty. It's not a sex, gender thing. This particular individual took it on herself to go around and grope guys. Maybe she groped girls as well, because, I don't know. But, I think, honestly, there is a mix-up where people confuse the two. It's not a sexual empowerment to go around groping people, and sometimes if you're a guy it's considered sexual harassment. If it's a girl, it's sexual harassment. I don't know why guys have that double standard, or is that part of the toxic masculinity thing where guys are assumed to enjoy it? It's like, no, I'm sure they don't. I'm sure that they would be offended too, particularly if it was from an unwanted girl. It's, you got toxic femininity as well, from women who go around assuming that guys want to be fucked around with. It's like, no, not all guys want to be, they don't want to be groped by girls whether they're hot or not, sometimes. I'm assuming, you can't just generalize that all guys are like that. There's this big umbrella of toxic masculinity where guys are constantly up for it, We've got the toxic femininity as well, where guys assume that girls are always, asking for attention in a sexualized way. When in reality, from experience, most of the time we're hiding from guys because it's creepy and we don't like the extra attention, particularly if you're an introvert. There are extroverted girls, like this one particular girl I was explaining, who is a slut, who enjoys the extra attention, who likes being groped, probably likes being groped. She didn't seem to mind groping her manager, and he was grabbing her back, so, it's all these extra things, and maybe she wasn't a slut, and maybe it was just a case of they are actually shagging, and everyone's just turning a blind eye to it because, she's getting shit for it. Again, unprofessional. Not that being a bar hoe is a profession, but I'm just saying it's not sexual empowerment to me, and I do talk a lot of shit, so you don't have to believe this, to be throwing yourself at anyone you can get your hands on, hoping the shit sticks, hoping you can get pregnant by them and hoping they stay. That is the motive for most experiences I've had with girls who act that way. What I don't understand is when the girls do this, the men react and then they complain. It's like, you were literally grabbing at him. He reacted in likewise, and then you play the victim. I don't understand that. It doesn't make sense. Like, what is this double standard where girls can go around acting like that, but it's the guys that get in trouble for doing the same thing back? I don't understand that. And there's a lot of guys that have got in trouble for it because apparently it's one set of rules for them and not for the girls. The girls have got, because we are the smaller sex, generally, right? You do get those massive Goliath women that scare the fuck out of me. But, you know, goddamn. But, you know, as a smaller sex, on average, compared to men who are on average, and I'm talking about biological men, I'm not talking about gender and all that shit. You know I don't like that shit. Biologically speaking, as in XX chromosomes, XY chromosomes determining what sex you are. And I could be wrong because someone's going to crack the shits out about that anyway, at some point with something I say. They're bigger than us, and of course we get a bit more credit when it comes to sexual harassment because the guys will look at each other and sneer at other guys that get sexually harassed, which is a stigma in itself. And it's double standard, it's not fair, because unwanted attention, regardless of sex or gender, is still unwanted attention. Girls get away with a bit more. I went to high school with a lot of slutty girls who thought it was funny as hell to be grabbing guys' dicks and stuff. And watching them, you know, turn red and all this shit. And I'm sitting there going, I don't agree with that at all. I don't think anyone should be touching anyone inappropriately, particularly if they don't want it. I mean, yeah, can you imagine if the standard was the other way around for this one girl? If a guy went around just groping other guys' girlfriends and stuff like that because it's for the extra attention and to put the ships up the guy. It's what is these guys don't do that, as far as I know. I've never seen a guy going around for extra attention, you know, like putting their arms around some other guy's girlfriend and stuff like that. You get your ass kicked. To be honest, part of my reflection on that is because it was a contributing factor to destroying my previous relationship with my ex-boyfriend. So I have, how do you put it, a horse in this race. It's like I have vested interest in not liking this person acting like that because it was intensely, first of all, she knew it upset me and she did it anyway. You know, and you see them going, you're just doing this because you can, and you think I won't say anything or I won't do anything. And I have to play nice with you because otherwise I'll look like the asshole for saying something about it. She was playing on that, I could tell. Oh, she does it with everyone. Well, she fucking shouldn't. So, you know, and then someone will turn around and say, oh, she's just empowered herself. She's just friendly. It's like, it's not sexual empowerment to throw yourself at everyone and, you know, hope for approval. I don't expect that from the guys. In fact, I see guys getting shit for it. Girls get slut-shamed, apparently, but I'm saying we need to slut-shame the guys as well because I don't approve of guys doing that. I would take a virgin over a guy that had, you know, more experience in this giant bravado bullshit where he's uber masculine and can get all the girls. It's like, I can't stand guys like that. They just come across as arrogant. It's like, I don't want... What do we used to call it in high school? Sloppy seconds. I don't want sloppy seconds, you know? That's what we used to call it in high school. When, you know, like someone would break up with someone and they'd instantly the next day or week go out with someone else. It's like, oh, I don't want your sloppy seconds. I don't know what they were up to, and I was pretty naive when I was younger and in high school, but I'm assuming it was nothing to do with extra liquid during sex. I'm hoping, right? Because this is high school and it's kind of fucked up. But at the same time, you know, yeah, why? Why would you put yourself at such a risk? And it's an asshole thing to do as well, because it's while you're doing this to someone else, like in our relationship with my ex-boyfriend, for example, it's a situationship to be honest. But in the situationship with my ex-boyfriend, it was a case of psychological abuse because she knew it upset me. She did it anyway. And it was a control mechanism. I mean, it's covert narcissism because you know it's going to put the shits up. I mean, you do it to fuck around with people. And you know they're not going to say anything because they're too nice. And it's a little game. And as soon as I leave, this dumb slut is going to do it to someone else. And the guy she's putting her arms around doesn't give a fuck. Oh, she won't give a fuck about him, to be honest, after I leave, because the whole game there is to piss off the other girls and make herself feel better about her circumstances because she, you know, fucked around with your boyfriend. I went to high school with these girls. I know these girls. These are not original. There's no real victory in this. There's mind games. Any girl with self-respect, any woman with self-respect would turn around to the guy who's not reacting, not defending his woman and saying, fuck off, I can find better. So while she thought she won this victory with getting this guy's attention, and I left, and oh, now I'm out of the game, and not that I was ever wanting to participate in the fucking game, to be honest. It's a case of, you didn't really win anything, and because the guy I left is a fucking loser, and if you got his attention, that just means all the fucking sexual abuse, all the verbal abuse, all the extra shit is now your problem. You didn't win, really. You did me a favor. You think you're building up your self-esteem by, fucking around with other people's guys, hoping to steal them from another girl, and apparently that's your value, is it? You might as well just start charging by the hour, darling, because you're not fucking getting anywhere with this. You don't win anything at the end. At least if you're going to act like a slut, get paid for it. It just doesn't... I don't like this mentality where they're confusing, sleeping around with empowerment, sexual empowerment. Empowerment should be choice. It should be a choice which is bolstering your self-esteem, bolstering your self-respect, not devaluing you, not making you available to anyone who can fancy it or can buy you a drink. It's not that way inclined. Whilst you do have some say in who you sleep with, absolutely, try and pick a fucking good one, dude. Don't do it for body count. Pick a good one. If you're doing it just to put, something up someone's ass, another girl's ass, saying, oh, I stole your boyfriend or some shit like that, it's pretty fucking pathetic fight, to be honest, because the guy was already halfway out the fucking door. It just doesn't make sense. If he's willing to look at other girls, he's halfway gone. You can start kicking that fucker out now. Find a quiet time when he's at work or something like that, but start loading that fucker's shit up, because he ain't staying if he's looking. And that was one of the arguments with my ex-boyfriend I kept getting. It's like, you're not in this relationship. You keep window shopping. He was looking at other girls. It wasn't just her. It was the other two as well in the same group. It was girls behind the bar. He was keeping pictures of his ex while he was making out with his ex, pictures, all this kind of shit that told me, red flag, this guy is not fucking here with me. He's not staying. And the whole time he was trying to defend his actions. I asked him, could you get rid of these pictures of you making out with your girlfriend on your Facebook? Because it's off-putting. I don't like the idea of, you still having this thing for your ex-girlfriend. And then he got defensive about it. That's part of me. I'm not getting rid of it. I'm sitting there going, what the fuck, dude? Who are you with? Me or her? What the, He was never mine to begin with. I think, honestly, he was still in love with his ex. If it was love. I don't know what that is because, that was a terrible relationship from what I could see. But okay, whatever floats your boat. Bearing in mind his love language is to argue and then make them come back with his cock and alcohol. So it's not really a love language, is it? It's more like trauma bonding and abuse. But at the same time, I'm like, you haven't won anything by doing this. You haven't achieved anything by this. Any self-esteem that you had is momentary from this experience. And you've just lost a potential friend who could have helped you. You've made yourself look like a dumb slut. Because now everyone else in that group is looking at you like, she could do that to my friend, to my boyfriend. You're not doing yourself any favor. It's not just girls that do it as well. It's not empowerment. It's being an asshole. It's being a selfish, self-absorbed asshole. It's saying, I'm more important than any kind of sanctity of your relationship, better than your friends getting any kind of respect. It's people hoarding in itself, because I have a severe feeling she's not monogamous. Because, partly because she's in a relationship on her Facebook with some girl, for a start, while she's flirting, if not fucking the manager, whilst flirting with my boyfriend, groping him and shit like that, and she's having some kind of domestics with another guy, who's a tall, skinny guy I saw like once or twice. And I'm sitting going, who the fuck exactly are you with? Put it down on paper so at least I can keep track of it, woman. It's like, who is it? Which one of you are with? So that was the confusing part. I was like, I don't know what is going on, why you feel compelled to do this with this guy, because to be honest, I was doing you a favor keeping him away from you fuckers, because he's not a good guy, okay? And in that sense, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just let you have him. I'll let you have him, and you can fully experience what the fuck he is like, and then fuck you, because you deserved it. But I don't agree. You know, if you've listened to the other podcasts, I don't agree with polyamory. It's just people hoarding to me. I don't agree with it. I am a monogamist, obviously, to the core. I'm devout about it. I'm a demisexual. I don't look. Is a demisexual that doesn't look at other guys, just not attracted to other guys while you're with someone? It's whatever that is. It's like, I don't bother. I don't feel compelled to look like window shopping for another lover while I'm with something. I just don't have that in me. I'm a diehard romantic, which just makes it a billion times worse, because when you do fall for someone, you end up, you know, unrequited. Also horrible. But, you know, it's just... So I am biased in that account, and I can understand that. And it does seem very close-minded, but when I'm looking at this, I'm not just seeing, oh, you're just so reserved and prudish sort of thing. I'm seeing the amount of damage, emotional and psychological, you could do to someone by involving more than one person in a relationship. Because someone always falls. Even friends with benefits. It's like you think, oh, it's just sex. It's like, no, someone always falls. It's just a matter of time. And then the other person is like, well, I don't actually want a relationship with you. I don't, you know, I just wanted sex. And then it fucks you up. And fucks you up for future relationships as well, because now you're thinking, is this going to happen again? It's like, am I going to try and have a relationship with this person who just falls out of love with me? Or am I going to, you know, it's mental. Sex without feeling is impossible. It will come eventually, as far as I'm concerned. I could be wrong. Some people are absolutely fucking heartless and can just do it. I don't know how. It's a twisted idea to me. It's a very base creature kind of idea where people can just fucking not care. I don't see it. I don't understand how people can't emotionally connect when they fuck. I can't. But then again, some people can use prostitutes as well, and that blows my mind. I'm sitting there going, how can you do that? I don't understand. But for me, sex is more than just an act. It's connection, it's energy transfer, it's healing, it's everything. Sacred. It's not reserved for marriage. I wouldn't go that far, but it's definitely monogamous, and you can't just throw it around like it's worth nothing, cheapening the act, creating mental problems as a result. It's not something that's throwawayable. I don't understand how they can do it, and they cheapen it by acting like a hoe. You know, it's like these hoes, man hoes as well. If you've listened to my other podcast called Man Hoeing, it's the same deal. They just cheapen the experience. They make themselves disposable by acting like, oh, I'm empowering myself. No, you're fucking over how many other people because they might have fallen in love with you, or they might have wanted a family with you, or a life with you, a future with you, but because you're stuck in this rut of, I don't have to connect with anyone else, you've just emotionally fucked how many other people. It's horrible on the other person. I'm looking at it not from a first person kind of thing, it's a third person kind of thing, and I know the impact that it makes on other people. And I'm saying in that sense, it's cruel what you're doing. In a sense, this girl who was, you know, hitting on my boyfriend while I was with him, it was cruel what she did. And she did it for kicks. I know she don't want him. He ain't got any money. I know. I wanted him because it was a candle, a flame I'd held for God knows how long, and this image I had in my head of this person he could have been, this potential. Turns out he was not it. I was wrong myself, I absolutely admit that. I couldn't have been more wrong, we couldn't have been more opposite, more polarized. But I, being in my, you know, retarded romantic self, wanted him to be, you know, this massive Mr. Darcy and Austin kind of thing. When really he was a Casanova, but have you ever figured out who Casanova is? You ever read a biography of Casanova? He's a fucking psychopath. He was a kiddie fiddler. He was a rapist. His version of seduction was coercive rape, if not rape outright. It doesn't work that way. I read a horrifying biography about him a few years ago. Because I'm like, oh, Casanova's romantic. Oh, that's lovely. And then I read it and I started reading this and going, Jesus fucking Christ, this guy should have gone to prison a long time ago. Like a long time ago. I'm surprised he's not dead. Well, he was dead at the time, of course, right? But, you know, it's horrible. The way people sort of exploit sexuality. It's like you think it's romanticism, but at the same time they're using that as a means to get in your pants and exploit you. Oh, he seduced her. No, he coercively raped her. There's a significant difference. She doesn't need to be persuaded when in her mindset she's saying no. It's like, oh, she just needs more persuasion. No, fuck what? I don't think so. You know, no is no. But that was back in a time period where women had less rights when it came to their sexuality. That's toxic femininity in itself as well, because, you know, back then women were, of course they want you to seduce them. Oh, it's romantic. Oh, things like that. You know, it's chivalrous. Is it chivalrous? No. You know what chivalrous is? Respecting women. Courtly love. You don't actually fuck them. Courtly love is when you romance them, you give them flowers, you write them poetry, you write them songs and things like that, and you never actually get to fuck them because they're married to someone else. That's courtly love. I still don't agree with it because, you know, often they were married, but at the same time, this was in a time where marriage was a case of land ownership or political connections or things like that. There wasn't love in a sense there when you married. So the context was a bit different. But if in these days you can marry for love and sex is a choice, consent is a choice, don't go around pretending that you're seducing people when realistically you're coercively raping them. It doesn't make sense. It's sexual harassment. There's so much more to sex these days than it was back then, I think. And I could be wrong because I'm not a historian, but I do love history. But the context is different. We've got toxic guys still using those past mindsets and ways of treating women that are outdated and illegal most days. And I don't understand that. That's this uber masculine idea where girls always want it. Of course they want it from me. I'm a stud. And you sit there and think, no, you're a pumped up synthol douchebag. Go away. You think, I cannot stand in the gym when guys peacock. I can't. It bugs the fuck out of me. It's an instant turn off. They're sitting there strutting around flexing shit like that. It's like, are you doing it for the other guys? I assume you are. Because I'm disgusted, quite frankly. It's like, I don't need that shit in my face. Being married, like I was married to a personal trainer who was that kind of arrogant, I can tell you, hand in hand, there's nothing attractive about it. We don't need you to brag. It's not like you're proving a point by re-emphasizing it. We would see if you're massive. We know what we like. We can see that you lift. We get it. Do we want you to constantly fucking remind us, look at my pecs, look at this? Even if you're doing it in some kind of subtle physical way, do we need to? No, we don't need the reminder. We got it. We got it the first time. Okay? Let it go, man. We can acknowledge it. We are not going to constantly reinforce that we find you attractive. I don't know. I do, though, when I'm with a guy, though. I'm constantly grabbing butts and things. But that's different. That's when I'm with someone. If I'm in the gym and I'm there as a functional being trying to lift weights and handle my mental shit, I'm not looking at guys. I don't want to. I'm too fixated on handling my shit. Most of the time they get in the way. It's like, you are just being a dick. Go home. And you smell. So it's like, there's always a smell. So much marinated taint. It's disgusting. It stops me lifting and I hate it. But anyway, that's another podcast I did already about, you know, what is it? Gym douchebags or something like that. I did it a while ago. Pet peeves about assholes in the gym. But you know, what is sexuality where it's empowered? I mean, everybody knows everyone is capable of having sex. So why do you need to keep shoving it in people's faces? It's not adding value to the system. We're not here forming relationships based on virility anymore. It's like, oh my God, I can see the sperm count from here. I'm going to marry that one. It's not why we're choosing people anymore. Most days, and values change as well. What was this rugged masculine kind of shit is now we want guys to be concerned for us if we fucking break a leg and shit, not just go, oh, I've had worse and keep going, you know? It's like, Our values have changed. We want different. Women who are, using their sexuality to trap men, as far as I can see, or fuck with men, we don't like them on the whole. Even as a representative of our sex and gender, we don't like them. Not that it's, sometimes it's competition, but sometimes it's just a case of you're just fucking with them. You're getting the good ones and you're fucking with them to the point where they think we're all like that. And it goes both ways as well. Because I've been, like my ex-boyfriend, for example, I'm looking at him, I'm looking at the way his friends interact, and then I'm looking at potential boyfriends in that crowd and I'm going, I wouldn't touch any of you. Because you're all acting the same way, you're all enabling the same shit. And it's all this hypersexualized kind of, I need to constantly compete to get laid shit. I'm going, I wouldn't trust any of you with a fucking condom, dude. None of you fuckers are coming near me. You can't. I'm looking at you, because like, in particular, like his friends who was going out with the brunette girl. His name is Patrick. And I'm sitting there thinking, dude, you're flirting with me now. If I dated with you, you would be doing this to someone else, no doubt, hands down. Why the fuck do you think that's an appealing thing? That I would find that alluring? That you can lure me away from this guy? That I would be bothered risking having you? It doesn't make sense, because I know as soon as I get you, you're going to try this shit with some other girl. It's like, how you got me is how you're going to, it's how you're going to lose me. I guess, I don't know, something to that effect. But it shows me the conduct of his friends while I was with him. It showed me what kind of a boyfriend they would be. And the whole lot of them were flawed in one way or another. The only closest guy I got was the yoga guy, and even then there was some emotional unavailability there. Or maybe some shit about me was spread behind my back that turned him off me and he sort of distanced himself out. I don't fucking know. Or maybe he's got girls chasing him the entire time, so he thought me just wanting to talk to him about anything like yoga or spirituality was a case of, oh, she's hitting on me. It's like, I'm not fucking hitting on you guys. It's called having a human being conversation, for fuck's sake. Not everyone's trying to fuck you, okay? That was the whole theme of that group. If you weren't trying to fuck someone, you're trying to be fucked by someone. It's like, I just want to talk, for fuck's sake. Why are you guys like this? Why are you so up your own fucking ass that you think that someone is constantly trying to fuck you? It doesn't make sense. If you hang around with people that encourage that, then you need to change your friend group, because they are not your friends. Friends do not fuck friends. Not unless, know them for ages and it's on the way anyway. Like some people will marry their best friends and it will be like the best thing they ever did. Some people marry their best friends, much like my parents, and it becomes a fucking nightmare. It's a risk. But you don't hang around in social groups that are there just to get laid or backstab each other. It's a whole horrible, toxic fucking group. And I was just angry with that whole fucking group. And I still am. Because they don't know how much emotional damage, psychological damage they're inflicting, not only on themselves but each other, in the long term, in participating in this shit. And you think you're all hot shit for doing it. It's like, oh, look how many girls I've fucked. Look how many guys I've stolen. It's like, you're fucking losing. Seriously. What is this worth? Can you take it to a bank? The only way you can take this to a bank is if you own the fucking brothel. What are you doing? It doesn't make sense. This is notches on about don't count for shit. In fact, they actually work against you, because now we're worrying whether you've got STDs. It's like, oh, what's your body count? Way too high to be healthy. It's like, what's your emotional availability after all those bodies? Fuck all. Because now they're like horrible, twisted, cynical people. I've had 2 assholes in a row and I'm cynical. Can you imagine if these fuckers have had 5, 6, 7, maybe 10 people because they keep fucking up, or the person keeps fucking up, or they're hanging around with people that just enjoy fucking and leading people on and abusing each other. They just enjoy the game. And I'm sitting there thinking, I want nothing to do with these fuckers. I don't want it. It's toxic as fuck. I can imagine what it's doing to my psychological shit after watching this one blonde bitch hit on my guy. I'm sitting there going, you know what? I just walked out of a marriage with a non-monogamous asshole who I was with for 16 years. I'm not playing this fucking game again. Get away from me. And it was just these kinds of aspects and experiences that fucked up that relationship, because it wasn't just a count of one. It was a count of like it happening and then him siding with them. I'm sitting there going, you are just feeding this fucking disgusting, slutty beast. Why are you allowing it? You don't want to be with me. Anyway, long story short, I fucked him off. I fucked him off, actually. I think the eviction was like a blessing. And then you look around you in this sort of devastated bullshit and you go, I am quite happy to leave this. I don't want anything to do with this. And it's like when I stopped drinking as well, because as soon as I stepped away from him, stopped hanging around with him, I stopped drinking again. It's so easy to step out of it because you can feel how much it hurts, those practices. I don't know if that's part of being ASD or masking or being able to read social cues because you're so versed in having to read things to hide, to you know, tread on eggshells because of the fucking PDS background and stuff like that. But I now have physical feelings attributed to people who live in that kind of lifestyle and have no problem with fucking each other over. It hurts me to hang around those people physically. It's screaming on the inside, is my skin screaming, which is why I want nothing to fucking do with them. I attribute that to the pain that my ex-boyfriend inflicted with his fuck-up friends. And I just like, if you expect me to go out with one of these guys in that group, hanging around those people, and just sit in this fucking screaming and think nothing of it, play nice and pretend while they try and grope him, it's like, no, fuck off. I don't want anything to do with that. I don't want anything to do with it. I don't want anything to do with that lifestyle. I want nothing to do with it. It hurts me. It physically fucking hurts me. Not just psychological. I can feel my skin screaming because of you fucking assholes. And it's that kind of mentality you got to have to get yourself out of that shit-ass experience. Because these fuckers have been sitting in it so long, they've just acclimatized to it. It's like, how can you not tell this is going to hurt? You know it's going to hurt. You just think it's a game now because you haven't seen the long game of it. You don't know where it's coming in the next 10 years. And my ex-boyfriend should know better because he's 40 odd now. He's been doing it for 20 years. He should know the pain that's associated with these fucking tactics. He just doesn't care. He's become so desensitized by fucking around, fucking people over, and fucking whatever he can fucking get. He just doesn't fucking care anymore. He doesn't care, which is why he picked me up and put me down like I didn't fucking matter. He's desensitized. He's fucked too many people. Emotionally, he might be screaming on the inside, but he's in denial, in a constant state of denial, right? You don't care. Because the second he actually addresses that shit, the guilt of treating people like that, the accountability of fucking people around for games, for kicks, for laughs, for get your jizzing on, he actually has to recognize that he fucked up. And he can't do that because he's a covert narc. He's perfect, right? He claimed shit about having some kind of, what was he saying? I've got a imposter syndrome. He's like, I've got imposter syndrome. No, you're just using that as a ploy to make people feel sorry for you so you can fuck more of them. It's like, people will feel sorry for you, they'll give you a pity fuck, and they'll, you know, you'll win again. It's like, no, stop. Stop. This isn't helping the problem. This isn't solving the problem. What you actively need to do is take yourself out of that lifestyle, out of that situation where you think it's okay to keep fucking around and fucking people over and fucking things up, and get a fucking life, dude. It's like, stop. Put your dick down for 5 fucking seconds before it falls off in your fucking hand from syphilis. Let it go. So, you know, and I'm not doing this from a prudish, I'm better than, holier than thou shit. I'm sitting there going, you have actively gone out of your way to fuck people over for 20 years and expect no kind of backlash. I'm surprised he hasn't ended up in prison, because I know the girls he was getting at one point was fucking young, and he still likes them young. And I'm going, this is insane. You are a time bomb waiting to happen. You're going to prison at some point, dude. You're going to pick the wrong one. It's going to be like the redhead's younger sister or something like that. He's going to get a drunk fucker. And then I don't know how old the redhead's younger sister is, but she looks fucking young to me. It's like, you're just going to pick the wrong one and you're going to get screwed. And you know what? It will be karma. Because you should have put it away. You should have known better. You shouldn't have fucked up. You shouldn't have been greedy and self-serving and ego-serving, you know? Because that's all it is. Fucking around is just ego-serving. There's no value to it. There's no purpose to it. it's an ego pump. It's saying, I can get this many people, I'm still sexually attractive. And if you're that insecure that you need to fuck over other people, potentially spreading health risks, psychological, emotional damage, just to say that you've got value, then fuck you, man. What the fuck is wrong with you? It doesn't make sense. You're nasty, you're horrible. It doesn't make sense. And then you got these poor bastards who are nice people, and I've seen a lot of nice people, genuinely sweet people, getting fucked over because they fell in love with the wrong asshole who used them and dumped them. And it crushes them. And I'm not the kind that gets crushed. I'm not anymore. I didn't get crushed with this asshole. I went, he's a piece of shit, and kept walking, and I made more money, and I got out of there. You know, I saw that coming. I knew what he was like in his 20s. I was hoping by 40 he'd be different. He was not. But these dumb girls who think sexuality is a path to getting them a better lifestyle, it's not going to work, sweetheart. It's just not that. That's not how it works. It's okay. I'm not wearing a bra, and I'm so giggly and hee. She's sitting there going, oh my God, he's going to use you like a Kleenex. And then move on to your friend. It's like, what is going on? What do you think he has to offer that is so appealing that you'd throw your body at him for free? Oh my gosh. And as I said before, if you're going to throw your body at someone, at least get paid, right? Like, you're using the wrong end of the stick here. And then, you know, like, being a hooker comes with its own wealth of trauma, you know, feelings of low self-worth. It's empowering. No, it isn't, darling. You're lying to yourself. We know you are. Because it's a job. Everybody hates their job. And if you're giving yourself away to the last ounce, even physically, sexually, then it's the worst job, really. There's no nobility about prostitution. This is why crackheads do it as a last resort. It's so empowering. You keep telling yourself, sweetheart. You go for it, darling. Whatever makes you feel like you have no other option, I guess. I don't know. As far as I can see, education is the means to getting a better life and lifestyle. Spreading your legs is probably the opposite. Looking at what happened to girls in my high school when they get pregnant and the guy fucks off, it's yeah. Spreading your legs doesn't get you anywhere except STDs and doctor's appointments. So, popularity counts for shit in the real world, sweetheart. You might have been popular in high school, but this is the wrong fucking game. You're playing chess. Your checkers rules don't fucking matter. We don't care. Yeah, it's stupid. And I focus mainly on girls, I know. But guys are sluts too. And it's inexcusable. I don't like sluts that are male either. And when I talk about male and female, I'm talking about the chromosome side of things. I'm not talking about guys dressing up as girls and acting like sluts. That's a whole different story. No one should be acting like a slut. You just devalue yourself in every sense of the word. You could say maybe being employed is like a form of prostitution because we give our time for pay, essentially. But, you know, I don't remember ever having to take my clothes off at work and have my boss grope me. So, for pay. So, you know, yeah, I would say it's different. Although, having said that, the blonde girl was groping her boss. So, yeah. Looking for a pay rise? What is this? Yeah, anyway. Looking for tips in the men's toilets? I don't know. How can I get extra pay? I know. Drug punters. Take them into the male toilets. Give them head. Anyway, long story short, I know a few things I don't want to know. So this is the social group I don't want to belong to. And you might call me prudish and a bit of a bitch and a Karen. And, oh my God, she's just slut-shaming everyone. It's like, yes, I am slut-shaming everyone. I am literally slut-shaming. I don't give a fuck at this point. And no, I'm not conservative. No, there's no political agenda to this. What are you doing, you crazy bitch? Yeah, just run out into traffic. Anyway, fuck it. Sorry, I'm just watching joggers run at things. My motivation for saying these things is moral. It's also ethical. It's psychological. It's emotional. You're devaluing yourself by doing this. You think you're winning, but the long haul damage you're doing to yourself and others is phenomenal. It's not going to bode well You devalue yourself by doing it, because there is one day you will wake up and you will feel absolutely fucking filthy, disgusting with what you've done. And there is a grime and an oil to that disgust that you cannot scrub off, and I've tried. You can't get rid of it. I've done stuff like that where, like been sexually assaulted and things like that. I have been sexually assaulted and things like that. There's a disgust you feel. Now, bearing in mind you went into it voluntarily for updates, that's got to be 10 times worse, because you've self-inflicted that now. I couldn't get the oily feel off me, the feel of filth from it. And that was someone I knew. It was basically related to me, to be honest. Yeah, I wasn't raised with him, but I was definitely related to him. He didn't seem to fucking care. But at the same time, it's like, I felt shit from that. And he did it to me twice. Imagine if you're doing it for others' approval. With many people, you will never get rid of that feeling of feeling disgusting. You want to just peel your skin off. It's insane. The emotional damage I got from that shit being inflicted on me versus the emotional fallout you're going to get from actively seeking it out to damage yourself. And if you find another ex-boyfriend, like another guy like my ex-boyfriend, there's also physical damage there. My ex-boyfriend was sexually violent. He fucked up my pelvis because of it. I have issues with muscles in my pelvis now because he was just too aggressive. I have constant sore hips where I cannot sleep properly now because, my fucking hips fuck up. I have trouble bending over now because he was just inconsiderate as a partner. And this whole time I was holding this flame for him, trying to reason that I could take this abuse because, I had feelings for him and stuff like that. It did not stop me getting fucked over. Now, if you're actively seeking out men or women that are willing to damage you physically just for the sake of saying, I've empowered myself sexually, then you gotta fuck yourself over. I'm actively saying, don't go out and do this shit. Respect yourself. There's nothing to be won from. Even if it's like a self-esteem boost, it's fleeting. Because one day you're up and the next day you're just ignored. You sleep around with all these guys hoping that one of them sticks, and they won't because they know you're disposable. Or you sleep around with all these girls and they'll know you're just an option. Who do you want to hang out with today? Oh, yeah, he's annoying. And women will criticize guys behind their backs when it comes to their sexual prowess as well. There's no secret there. You think you're winning. The girls get together and I've listened to them. They're not agreeing with you. So you might get ignored within the next, day or so, as put down as a shit lay and just walked on past. It's like if they can't get something out of you, then they're not going to bother coming back for you. So while you think you've got another notch on your belt, it's like realistically they've just downgraded you to like toilet cleaner or some shit. I don't know. So I don't agree with the sluttering. I don't agree with it. I think honestly you should have some self-respect. And I know I pick on one girl in particular, but she's the most recent example I've got. I could go all the way back to high school. You want to regress that far? That was what am I, 38? That was like 10 years ago, 11 years ago. Yeah, there was plenty of them in high school too. And they all were popular kids and they all did the same shit. And you know where they are now? Fat, with unwanted kids, drug addiction, alcoholism, in circumstances where they are perpetually moving, they've got no stable territory, and they've got kids in tow. That's what it is. That's what it gets you. The guys they were aiming for have fucked off with better options because that's what they do. There are subgroups within each sex and gender that you need to fucking avoid. And girls that act like sluts attract guys that want girls to act like sluts because it's easy and accessible. And they'll tell you lies like, oh, it's sexual empowerment. When realistically, it's a pervert that just wants to get at your box. They will feed that. It's like my ex-boyfriend with his free the nipple thing. It's like, oh, I love free the nipple. No, you don't. You're just a dirty old man like staring at 20-year-old girls' tits. It's so empowering for women. It's fucking not, you perv. It's like, if it was free, and I am a woman who has nipples that need free. You know? It's like, I know the catch, the catch of it, It's the cage comes down and then you're sitting at the bar with Jim, who will not stop staring at your tits, and suddenly a cold breeze blows and oh my god, why? You think you're doing yourself a favor with the free the nipple thing. It's like, I would rather protect myself from fucking freaks and unwanted sexualized attention. Like what my ex-boyfriend's friend Simon does, grabs his ass. Are you wearing a skirt? Yeah, I'm gonna grab your ass. Great, fuck off, you fucking moron. I would rather protect myself. And if that means, I wear a bra. I don't always wear a bra. I don't wear a bra in the gym because you cannot do overheads with that elastic strap around your chest. Basically, it fucks up all kinds of things. So I do train without a bra, but my tits are tiny. Most women who have large breasts need a bra because otherwise it fucking hurts. So the boobs that we're aiming for, I know this is getting very technical, are barely developed. Yes, you can still see the nip. Maybe it's a mid-cup or something like that. But youthful, right? Okay. Boobs that don't sag, that need a bra. Boobs that are small. So it's young girls' boobs, essentially, isn't it? So it's old guys supporting the free the nipple movement for young girls who are dumb and do what they want. And do what the old guys want. Because the young girls perceive the old guys as having money and status and security and all this shit. So it's a two-way street. Essentially, the only people that win are the guys because they got what they wanted. And the girls don't get the money or whatever because most of the time these guys are lying and they don't have it. It's a big clusterfuck of what the fuck, dude. It's like you think you're empowering yourself, but you're not. It's a double bluff. So save yourself embarrassment, save yourself the potential sexual risk. Cover up your nipples. just give it up, man. Give it up. Not all guys are like that. I know my brother doesn't do that. He advertently stays away from that kind of shit because he was raised a gentleman. And I think honestly we need to bring that shit back because I'm tired of feeling insecure about having, potentially cool breezes passing my tits in a room full of guys. To be honest, because, it does draw attention. And no, guys are not, no, that's just the way they are. No, they're not, actually. They can be trained not to. If it is a natural inclination, they can be trained not to stare at your tits. Guys get semis, like, all the time. We don't sit there staring at your crotch. We don't even look down. Most of the time, we're trying to make direct eye contact to see if you're a rape threat. So it's like, what do you want? Can I just get this equipment? No, you cannot. Get away from me. Get away from my bubble. Who are you, mister? I need an adult. Fuck, I am the adult. This just gets worse. We are not wired that differently. If women can overcome this hypersexualized horniness that we have, and we do have it, we just use our manners, So if we can overcome that red-blooded, fiery womanness, then guys can too, for fuck's sake. You don't have to keep shoving it in their face. And if you make yourself too accessible, and this goes both ways, if guys make themselves too accessible sexually, then it does diminish your value because no one's gonna want what everyone else can get. And you can't put it down to always experience and therefore more valuable. It's like, no, now you're dirty. Nobody wants to drink that. Dregs in the beer bottle, It's like everyone's had a swig and they've all backwashed into it. I don't want it. You ever shared drinks with a small child? You'll know it's fucking traumatizing. Nobody wants it. Ugh, floaties. I've got nieces at the moment, and one of them's 3. It's fucking horrendous. Gross. It is disgusting. But I am saying, if you are going to feel confident in yourself, and please don't attribute sexualization with confidence, because it's not. You can be confident and not flash your tits or your ass or your cock or your pecs or whatever the fuck, You can just, you find a way, man. The way you walk, the way you talk, the way you interact with people, that, I find the most attractive men are just kind, and there's strength in their kindness and compassion and their stability, and they're not fucking crazy trying to fuck everyone, everything kind of guys. I don't see notches on a belt as a selling point. I see it as a liability in this case, because there's no guarantee that you'll stay with me if you're so, you know, fluid in just finding other people. There's no staying power there, so therefore there's no point investing in that person, because they're a waste of fucking time. They don't know what they want. They're fluttering from fucking chick to chick or guy to guy, and what's the point? Why start what you can't finish? Why bother starting on the off chance that they might stay? Isn't that just an ego boost in itself? You're telling yourself that you are that important, that this person, even though they've been fucking around with 9 or 10 people before you came along, oh, they'll stay for me. It's like, sure they will. You delusional fuck. It's definitely not in their nature to go from person to person to person to person to person. You know, it's... I don't accredit body count with value in men. I don't. I think it's a liability, because it shows me this person does not know what they're doing, doesn't know what they want. And it could be a case of somehow you've had 9 people abandon you, which is possible, but fucking impossible, really, isn't it? Now I'm looking at you like, well, what's the common factor that they are abandoning you? If there's 9 of them now, it's like, what did you do? Because 9 women or 9 people, 9 men don't just turn around from one person and fuck off of no account. That's the definition of crazy ex, really, isn't it? It's like, what is the common factor here? It's the ex. Oh, right, okay. I'm not touching this one. Red flag city. So if you're going to sleep around, try and find someone of value. Don't sleep around. Let's just put it that way. Don't pick one. Pick a good one. Use your logic. I mean, if you're anything like me, I'm a romantic. I jump in feelings first, and then I try and talk my way into it a bit deeper with logic. I'm terrible that way. I need to tell myself off frequently. I jump in wholeheartedly with these things. It's just disgusting. It's so cringe. But now, these days, I've got to be more discerning. I really do, because it's fucking me up mentally to allow these people, to allow myself to fall in love with these people and then to have them use me. So that's 2 in a row now. I can't imagine what, 7, 8, 9 people damage-wise could do, because I know I'm pretty fucked in the head myself now. I definitely wouldn't sleep around. I cannot fathom how people can just do that. It's a disconnect. I'm sitting there going, don't you value yourself at all? That you would just hand yourself around like a tray of fucking entrees. So what is this? What are you doing? It doesn't make sense. Again, but that's me, could be me, ASD, black and white mentality. It's like, well, actually, the grey area, and you can totally give free love and shit like that. And I'm saying, no. No, that's not me. That's not how I'm designed. If you want to try that shit, all for you, basically. It's like, I know where it ends. Gift of foresight. It's like, I don't have to live it to know that it's going to be shit. I don't have to see a shit cake, physical shit cake. I don't have to taste it to know that it's shit. It's like, I have a feeling I'll know before I even get close to it that it's made with shit. So, I know there's a lot of poo analogies in this, but for God's sake, they have an impact. Right, I'm going to leave it there because I've got to go and eat something. I'm going to do another podcast on Thursday. Please protect yourself. Even if you think you're doing the most freeing, adventurous thing by fucking around, you're not. I'm sorry to break it to you, but you are just throwing your body, your life, your soul away. It's emotional damage all the way, man. It's like all the way, because you'll be coming back in 20 years when you look back at this one guy you fucked in a bar toilet or some shit like that, and you will be full cringe, hating yourself for doing that. And if it has any kind of residual effects, like an STD, which won't go away, or maybe an unwanted pregnancy that you didn't want, and now you just don't even know who the fucking father is, you're gonna hate yourself, because that has life-changing effects. People need to start thinking about the people they are fucking more, or willing to fuck. And if you're doing it for attention, if you're doing it for social acceptance, you really need to change your friend group, because that is some dumb shit. And if your friends are okay with this and you treating your body like that, they're not your fucking friends. It's not, half of these fuckers probably looking for you to fuck up so they can laugh about it behind your back. If you catch an STD, it will be gossip. They will laugh their ass off. If I tend to notice in these groups, if girls do feel sorry for each other, like in an open space and publicly, it's not real. There's a lot of backstabbing going on, particularly with this group I left. So I'm just like, I can tell you fuckers are being two-faced. Any consideration for each other is fake. It's drama as well, because they love spreading drama. If someone catches an STD from a guy who's in the same group, it's like, ooh, drama. It's like, ooh. So you get ostracized or, kicked on or some shit like that. There's always some fucking drama. And I'm not about the drama because I fucking hate that shit. I come from a PTS-based, trauma-based background. Anything like drama, I fucking hate. It's like, I just want soft, warm stability. Everyone else can fuck off. If I have to get that on my own, I will. But, so I don't run to this shit. This shit finds me. Yeah, I don't know why the fuck I bothered trying to be nice to these assholes. Anyway, long story short, protect yourself, male or female, because it's just the same for guys as it is for girls. You don't want an unwanted pregnancy. You don't want STDs. Because imagine you bang this hot chick and she turns out to be a real bitch. And then you're stuck with this kid with her and you can't fucking stand her, but you try and do the right thing and you marry her, even though she's a real bitch. And it happens countless times. And it's just degrading to yourself. And then she starts fucking taking it out on the kid because she's not happy either, but you have to get married and shit because you had this kid together. And it's like, it's mental shit. It's like, so be protective with your sexuality. And I'm not talking about the whole gay shit. I don't care if you're gay. To be honest, I'm bisexual myself. I couldn't give a fuck. What I'm saying is protect yourself in these situation relationships on a moral balance. I can't understand or stand the idea of Grindr. My friend Chris does Grindr. I can't get it. It's a brothel online, as far as I'm concerned. It's like no one's taking into consideration anybody's emotional well-being when they're doing that. It's just a case of where can I get my dick wet, and that's I'm pretty sure for gay guys, or bisexual gay people. And I'm like, I would never go on there. I do go both ways, but I would never go on there because it's too much damage waiting to happen. But protect yourself. You're a valuable human being. Don't just throw it away. Make him fucking earn it, And if you're any good at it, for fuck's sake, make him fucking earn it. Don't just waste it on some dumb slut that doesn't know the difference, male or female. Yeah, I can't. It hurts me to know about these things, and I don't want to, because I can feel the emotional damage that's coming from it. And then I see the kids doing it, and I say kids, I mean 20 to 25-year-olds. And I'm going, hate yourself in 10 years. You really are. You think you're doing wonderful things now, and you're adventurous and you're young and you're free and you're trying all these drugs and shit like that. I'm going, your life is going to go tits up. Oh, very soon. Very, very, very soon. You are peaking. And anything that involves drugs generally peaks pretty fucking early. But anyway, that's their life lessons, right? I mean, I dodged those bullets a few times. I hit some, but I dodged most of them. So that's our life choices. This is all about free will. You have to choose what you want to do. And you honestly have to live with consequences. And don't bitch and whine when you fuck it up in the long run. You end up with this kid you don't want, with a bitch you didn't like. That's on you. You made that decision. That's accountability. Welcome to adulting. No one's going to wipe your ass. No one's going to save you. That is you. You made that decision. You might not have understood the full consequences when you did it, but, now you've got the ripple effect. So, welcome to adulting. Christ, please take my advice, though. It hurts me to see them do this. It's horrible. Anyway, all right, I'm going to leave it there because I've got to go eat something and then I've got to go to the gym. All right, so I'm hoping you guys have a fantastic rest of the Monday. If I offended someone, good. Stop being a slut. Chances are you probably are, but anyway, no. I'm going to leave it there. All right, have a great one, guys, and I'll chat to you on Thursday.